I got my dream job by breaking a few rules and ultimately saying, okay, I'm going to try. To put it in 3 moves, I stopped waiting, I stopped asking for permission, and I started acting. So in this video, I want to just share my story of how I went from I don't want to say I went from a nobody, but I went from just a general employee to somebody who I'm starting to feel proud of where we're at. The first thing that I did was I stopped waiting for permission. Now, how did I do that exactly? Some of you may know that I worked at the airport in the city that I'm from, and I just did a video about wasting 10 years of not getting into leadership. But when I decided, you know what, I'm going to go into leadership, I want to be part of that management team, I got denied 7 times. Yes, 7 times. That means I applied, I interviewed, I thought I had it. And then I didn't. Why? And who stopped me from getting the promotion? That's neither here nor there. They're irrelevant at this moment. But it pissed me off. It pissed me off to the point where I had team members, I had managers asking me for leadership advice, asking me life advice, asking me, what should I do, Mike? So I thought, screw it. I'm not here to wait for a certain person in HR to all of a sudden like me or be so desperate that they just need to fill a spot. I'm going to share what I know. And that brought me here. That brought me to Leadership with Mike. And that, in and of itself, was tough. That was, again, not asking for permission. I just did it. That's how we met. Now, I've gone further than that. And I saw somebody else take action. And I was offended. Not in a bad way, but somebody in my network was like, a fellow leadership coach was like, hey, I just started on this brand new platform and it's going to help me share my message and it's going to help me reach all these people. And I'm like, son of a bitch. I looked at his YouTube channel. He didn't have a lot of subscribers. I had 20,000 at the time. So I got offended. Maybe I didn't get offended. I got motivated because I'm thinking, why do you have this opportunity? So I stepped up, I stepped out of my comfort zone, stepped out of my norm, and I reached out to this startup and I said, hey, I know you're working with such and such, or you're allowing him on your platform to be one of the beta users. I'd like to throw my ring into the hat. And by putting myself out there, the team said, Mike, we love your stuff. Wow, we've gone through your whole library. Yeah, we'd love to have you on the platform. Fantastic. That's the next thing that I did. I just felt like, not that I was owed the opportunity, but that opportunity was mine too. The next thing that I did to get my dream job, and we're going to talk about what that is, but the next thing I did was I started building relationships with the right people. What does that mean? It means I started networking. It means this new startup that was, I kind of weaseled my way onto their platform. I put myself out there. Hey, if you guys, I love talking startups. I love brainstorming. If you guys want help, let's jump on a call. Let's jump on a Zoom. Not that I was not getting paid or did not ask to get paid for this opportunity. I had knowledge. I had things that I wanted to share. They had a gap where they're like, what do we need? What are creators looking for? How can we help facilitate this platform? So I was able to build these relationships where I'm not asking for anything. They weren't asking for anything, but we both kind of had a need. And it became something natural, something organic. But it only became that way because I put myself in the mindset of, I'm going to build relationships. That was what was selfish of me. I'm going to build relationships that may lead to something. That's not me. I don't know if that's you. That's not me. The next thing that I did to get my dream job is that I proved myself. I remember working with the team. This is all the same team. But remember, we're strangers that are slowly getting to know each other. And I said, listen, I know this. I know this. I can help. They said, we need this and we need this. You can help. So it was just a perfect fit. But then I started to, again, this is all unpaid stuff, but I put myself in a position where I could offer value. I am what I believe, I'm good at calling out bullshit. I'm pretty good at negotiations. There was an opportunity that this company had an investor who wanted to bring in some money, and I said, you know what, if it's kind of through a network, if you guys don't mind, I'll come in and join. They said, Mike, we'd love for you to join. Well, I used my negotiating skills and was able to put this potential investor in a position where they really had to explain what they were talking about. I was really asking for details for them to show us what they were talking about, because I don't know if you guys deal with investors much. I mean, not that I do a lot, but some people want to talk like, I got all the money, I've got all the connections, I can do this, I can do that. But when you really ask them to show you, when it's time for the rubber to meet the road, they fall flat. That was exactly what happened in my situation. But I was able to voluntarily bring my skill set of calling out bullshit, of respectfully putting people on the spot. And it opened an opportunity where, Mike, I think maybe you should be really part of the team. And instead of, being a content creator that we talk to, maybe we should talk about having you be a content creator, maybe even something more. And that's where it came to the next part of me getting my dream job, is that through these conversations, through these discussions, the team really had an opportunity that I saw myself fitting in, that they welcomed me to fit in. But, we got to make this serious. We got to make sure that I'm part of the team. So I put myself in a position where they have an opportunity. But I had a couple of other opportunities circling around, which I kind of didn't want to take, but I used it as leverage. So I went to the company that I'm now at, which is oneclick.io. It's an AI software that helps. That's neither here nor there. It's an AI software. But I put myself in a position where I said, listen, guys, here's the opportunity. Here's where I see myself fitting. And at that time, it was really to be a content creator and a consultant for their social platforms that they were advertising or promoting on. And I said, if I don't jump with you guys now, if we can't solidify something now in terms of like a real contract, a real offer, I'm going to have to go over here. I didn't want to go over there, but I needed the leverage. And that was a conversation that was quite short. It was like, okay, Mike, well, let's figure this out. Let's jump on a call. We'll run some numbers. Bada boom, bada bing. Mike's the official content creator for oneclick.io. But that's not my dream job. My dream job is, again, I'm here. We talk leadership. I don't want to just be a cog in the wheel. Nothing wrong with that. But it was not my goal. My goal was to move up, to be part of the leadership team. And within a few months of, again, being myself, not being afraid to speak out or speak up in meetings, not being afraid to sharing my opinions on ideas, and not being afraid to go above and beyond, even though I wasn't technically paid to do it. There's a big uproar about, pay me what I'm worth, and I need to get paid before I show you anything. I get it. Everybody's got lunch they got to eat. But sometimes you really need to prove yourself, and then you get the package that goes along with it. And what that meant for me was that I became the head of strategy. I became the right-hand man of the owner of one of the co-founders of the company. I'd like to think that I've become quite important to the team. All of this happened because I took a chance. I stepped up for myself and said, you know what, if you can't promote me at the airport, I know what I know, and I'll start sharing it online. I start building this community, which gave me like an uplifting feeling. It gave me an opportunity because now I had this asset, which is a YouTube channel, and at the time was at 20,000 subscribers. Now we're like way over 50,000. Congrats to us. But it was all about taking action and not waiting for permission. So to kind of give this ramble a real direction, Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for somebody to say, hey, can you come and do this? Do it. Share your knowledge. Share your skills, life experiences. If you're my age, you know, the young 40s, I'm not, but the younger generation or generations have lots that they want to learn through your experience. If you're younger, it's quite possible that you are way further ahead on what's happening in the net, what's happening with AI, what's happening with tech, just what's happening with your generation. We all have this enormous wealth of information that we hold. We just have to, in my opinion, you just have to put yourself out there and start sharing it. Don't start ramming it down people's throats, but know your audience. Put yourself in a position to be noticed, where people want to notice. Not that you are saying, hey, pick me. I mean, that's kind of what I did, but I brought value when I did that. Ultimately, don't sit on the sidelines. You know, I get excited when I'm thinking about my kids because it's like, Dad can tell you, don't wait. Go after what you want. I have no business being in an AI startup. I have no business being the head of strategy. Not if you really looked at the jobs, the roles that I've had before. But here I am. And maybe it's not the ideal lifestyle or career choice for you, but use it as an example that this old bastard is in one of the, I mean, we've partnered with Google. Like Google works with us and it's like, you got some cool shit. I'm the head of strategy of that. I am proud of that. I'm proud of this channel that I started from being pissed off about not getting a leadership role when I know management. I know how to lead people. I'm proud that we get to hang out together at 57,000 subscribers. I have no business having that big of an audience on YouTube. I have no business for any of this. So take it for what it's worth, which could be nothing. But for me, it's kind of everything. So, yeah. Get your coffee because that's all we got for this one. Okay, ciao.